All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Touchdown Glass podcast. I am your host, Michael V. Jones. You know, here at the Touchdown Glass, we are keeping it 100% real. No crazy hot takes or agendas, just good old fashioned football talk the way you like it. And as always, I appreciate you tuning in. Well, here we are. Championship weekend coming up. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. Some head coaching moves that have just rocked the football world, right? I mean, what is going on in Dallas? We're going to get to that. But congratulations to the national champion, Ohio State Buckeyes. Notre Dame put up a good fight. Hey, good for Ryan Day. About a month ago, they were talking about canning your ass after losing to Michigan. And I love that you just stuck it to the world. So congratulations to Ohio State and their fans. All right. Well, let's review what happened real quick in the divisional round. I'll try to keep it quick. So we saw Saturday the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Houston Texans 23 to 14. Of course, Kansas City was a 1 seed. Houston was a 4 seed. So Patrick Mahomes 16 to 25, 177 yards, 1 touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 8 carries, 44 yards and a touchdown. And Travis Kelsey's 7 grabs, 117 yards and a touchdown. CJ Stroud, 19 to 28, 245 yards. Joe Mixon, 18 carries, 88 yards and a touchdown. And Nico Collins, 5 grabs, 81 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, the first off, Travis Kelsey, remember at the beginning of the year, we were kind of saying he was washed. Well, I mean, he's kind of come on strong at the second part of the season. So, I mean, if this is his final season, which is kind of rumored it could be, he could end on a pretty high note. But anyway, the story in this one, obviously, a lot of people are saying stuff about the Chiefs getting the calls, and I think it's. I'm not saying there's not anything to that, but I think we overblow that narrative, right? Because people are saying, well, the Texans outgained it by 100 yards, no turnovers, and nobody's lost. I think in the playoffs when you do that. But here's the problem: 8 sacks and 8 penalties for 82 yards. Now you can criticize the penalties all you want. The Patrick Mahomes penalty, yeah, it was. Look, I agree with Troy Aikman's criticism that it's a bad call. I agree with your criticism that it's a bad call. The thing is, when you watch it and when the ref is watching it in real time, you could see where they would miss it, and that's why you need a replay for a 15-yard penalty for a pass interference. These game-changing penalties, they need some kind of checks and balance. So, but yeah, the Texans, nice little back-to-back seasons of winning the division, winning playoff games. But when you go on the road and the quarterback gets sacked 8 times, it's going to be difficult to come out of there with a win, especially at a place like Arrowhead. So, all right, moving on. This huge upset: the 6 seed Washington Commanders defeated the 1 seed, the mighty Detroit Lions, 45 to 31. And of course, it all starts with Jaden Daniels, 22 of 31, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 16 carries for 51 yards. Brian Robinson, 15 carries, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. De'Ami Brown, 6 grabs, 98 yards, and Terry McLaurin, 4 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. A rough day for Jared Goff. Shame to end such a good season that way. 23 of 40, 313 yards, a touchdown, 3 picks. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 6 catches for 70 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 catches, 137 yards. And really the story in this one was, remember what I said, that Washington was going to need a lot to go right for them to win, and that is what happened because they didn't turn the ball over, and Detroit turned it over 5 times. And if you were watching the game in the first quarter or beginning of the game, maybe into the second or whatever, Detroit looked like they were about to go up 14-0, and then Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled that ball. And when you give Jaden Daniels an opening, watch out, right? He's going to take advantage of it, and that's what happened. And congratulations to Commanders and their fans, because obviously they've been through a horrible a drought of losing. The Snyder years were just awful, so I feel good for them. But the Lions, I just also feel bad for their fans because we know what Detroit's been through. They were on the verge of just a magical season, and it all went up in smoke. And now they're losing their coaching staff. So yeah, tough times in the Motor City after such high hopes, and good times in the district. So we'll talk more about. We're going to preview this NFC Championship matchup. It's going to be exciting. All right, and speaking of their opponent, the Philadelphia Eagles, the 2 seed beat the Los Angeles Rams, the 4 seed 28-22. So Jalen Hurts 15-20, 128 yards. He also had 7 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Saquon Barkley, man, what a monster. 26 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Dallas Goedert 4 catches for 56 yards. Matt Stafford 26 of 44, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams 19 carries, 106 yards, and Puka Nacua 6 catches for 97 yards. So it was a snow game, so fun to watch. Um, but I think that kind of slowed the Rams down a little bit. And then the turnover battle, Philly won that 2-0. So you go on a road against a team like Philadelphia with all those playmakers, and you're in the hole 2 turnovers. You could tell that made the difference. And the Rams, they still had a chance at the end. They just couldn't finish the final drive. Maybe had it not been snowing, but that's what happens when you don't have home field advantage in the playoffs and the other team does. A dome team like the Rams, Matthew Stafford, obviously very comfortable in the dome. Days in Detroit, days in LA at SoFi. Yeah, that's what happens. So, uh, yeah, it's going to be an interdivisional matchup with Philly and Washington, an NFC title game. I can't wait. And speaking of this matchup coming up, but we'll talk about what happened first. The 2 seed Buffalo Bills beat the 3 seed Baltimore Ravens 27-25. Josh Allen 16-22, 127 yards, 10 carries, 20 yards, 2 touchdowns. James Cook 17 carries, 67 yards, and Khalil Shakir 6 catches for 67 yards. Lamar Jackson 18-25, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He also had 6 carries for 39 yards, and Derrick Henry, 16 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown. And Isaiah Likely, 4 grabs, 73 yards, and a touchdown. So when we look at Derrick Henry, he, had a nice game, but he was contained. He didn't run all over the place. So you got to credit the Bills for that. The Buffalo got up 21-10 at the half. The Ravens though they tried to rally but came up short. The turnover battle, the Bills won 3-0. So we're kind of seeing a theme here with turnovers in the last 3 games I went over, right? And Mark Andrews, rough day for him. One of those turnovers, a fumble, and he also dropped a 2-point conversion in the end zone. I mean, no one around him. Lamar put it right there perfectly, and he just could not hang on. And, bless him. The Bills Mafia has donated to his charity, which I think is awesome. And, it was kind of like if you're an old school football fan or football historian like I am, it's shades of Jackie Smith in Super Bowl 13, the old, you know, Dallas Cowboys tight end that was wide open in the end zone. He's a Hall of Fame tight end from his days um, with the St. Louis Cardinals, but he joined the Dallas Cowboys. Figure he's going to end his career with a Super Bowl, and wide open in the end zone drops a touchdown he would have caught 99 times out of 100. So these things do happen to great players. And yeah, that was just kind of, it's a shame Mark Andrews. I hope he comes back and maybe the Ravens go on a run. But and if he returns there, but you hate to see such a solid career like his, kind of be remembered for that. And unfortunately, that's what happens. Um, during the playoffs, you make the plays or you don't make the plays, and that's what you're remembered for, fair or unfair. So, all right, we're going to get to some coaching news. We'll start with Pete Carroll with the Las Vegas Raiders. Absolutely love this hire. The fact that Pete Carroll's out on the street, and you can say, he's 74 years old, but he is a young 74, energetic, right? In good shape, good spirits. He's a culture changer, and I think he's exactly what the Raiders need. The Raiders need a lot though. So can they get a lot to put around him so Pete can do his thing? I mean, regardless, it's a great hire, right? You got to have a good coach, and I think they got one in Pete Carroll. The Bears getting their man in Ben Johnson. I love this hire. You got the hottest offensive coordinator candidate out there, and usually the Bears don't get their man. They got their man. I think this guy's going to be great for Caleb Williams, like he was great for Jared Goff. The Bears have a lot of pieces. This is a good fit for Ben Johnson. This is a good fit for the Bears. I really like it. A shame though, because the Lions now all their assistants are getting poached, right? Um, Aaron Glenn, another one with the Jets. So I think Aaron Glenn is head coaching material, and I've heard people say, "Well, why would Aaron Glenn get a job, right, when um, Detroit's defense wasn't that good?" But you look what he did with, I mean, just pulling guys off the street and how that he had them competing. I mean, this guy's a good football coach. Can he change things with the Jets? It's kind of cool. That's where he started and played most of his career. So it's kind of like a dream job for him, a homecoming for him. I hope he does well, but we kind of know how the Jets are run up top. And yeah, good luck, Aaron Glenn. I'm really rooting for you. Liam Cohen, the Buccaneers offensive coordinator from Tampa, he is now the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So good. I think this is a good hire for Jacksonville. I really like, you know, what he was able to do with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and Bucky Irving in that offense this year. They did a lot of good things. So I think that's a great hire. That poor Baker Mayfield, I think he had like 8 different offensive coordinators and like 8 different seasons or something. I read like that. So back to the drawing board for Baker and the Bucks. But I think these are all pretty good hires. I would say, if I'm, you know, averaging them out, these are all pretty good hires. And then the Saints are still searching for their coach, so they'll have the pick of what's left. And then there's my Dallas Cowboys, who have hired Brian Schottenheimer as their head coach. And look, I'm rooting for Brian Schottenheimer. I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of his father, Marty Schottenheimer. Very, very good NFL head coach. I mean, great in the regular season. Unfortunately, the postseason legacy is kind of what he is remembered for. But I mean, he could really fire up a team and turn a team around. So I don't know if he is a Marty type in that way, but this guy's got a lot of experience, but he's been in the league a while, and he's never really. Maybe at one point he was, but he wasn't on anybody's radar this year to be a head coach. And so I'm rooting for him. I'm not mad at him. We don't, as Cowboy fans, we can't give this guy the Barry Switzer treatment or the Dave Campo treatment. These guys don't hire themselves, okay? They take the job, and we can blame them based on the job they're doing once they're doing it, but you can't blame a guy for taking the job. So I'm not, we can't be mad at Brian Schottenheimer. We should all be rooting for him. But obviously we're very angry and disappointed with the front office, the ownership, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. I mean, there was an opportunity to bring in a Pete Carroll, to bring in a Ben Johnson, to do something wild and roll the dice and bring in a Deion Sanders. Some people aren't a fan of that. I am a huge fan of that. I think it would have a chance to work. But they didn't do that. They instead, they got a guy that they're comfortable with, and it's not going to give them pushback. And that's not a knock on Brian Schottenheimer. You got an opportunity. There's 32 of these things. You got your opportunity, to be a head coach. So, I mean, I hope you make the most of it. But we know the deal in Dallas. And why is this happening? Why? Why isn't this team focused on winning? My theory is that Jerry just he's tired of people going off on him and his moves, and he's not telling him he's not doing this and not doing that. So he's, you know what? He makes money hand over fist. He's going to do things his way, and it's his little screw you to the fans, to the media, whoever. You know, I'm doing it my way. I'm counting my money. I have the last laugh. I'm going home. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I've got 3 Super Bowl rings. It's not going to matter. So, you know, hope for a miracle, Cowboys fans. Hope that it's one of those years where a blind squirrel finds an acorn, right? And everything goes right. Um, but I think there's pretty dark days ahead. So, what does he say in Animal House? My advice to you: start drinking heavily. All right. Some other news: Bobby Slowick, the Texans offensive coordinator, will not be coming back to the Houston Texans, which is crazy because he was a hot candidate last year to be a head coach. But I think he'll get picked up somewhere as an offensive coordinator, and maybe he will get his shot again. All right. Okay, so let's preview these championship games. All right, we got the NFC Championship Sunday, January 26th. The 4 seed Washington Commanders at the 2 seed Philadelphia Eagles. This game kicks off at 3 p.m. Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady with the call on Fox. Uh, Philly is a 6 point favorite and over under of 47.5 points. Now, speaking of betting, what if you bet on the Commanders before the season to win the Super Bowl? I mean, you're 2 wins away from that and basically making a fortune. So, uh, yeah, that's pretty wild. I wonder who put that kind of money up. So, what do I think about this one? Well, if the Eagles play their cards right, I think they go back to the Super Bowl. However, however, you cannot give Jaden Daniels an opening. This guy is a big stage quarterback. Remember that last game in Dallas on the regular season? They pulled him. He wasn't playing. I mean, they pulled him so he would stay healthy, but he wasn't playing well. I said, you don't got to worry. This guy's a big stage guy. When you know all the chips are in the middle, he's gonna he's gonna lay down a royal flush. Okay, that's the kind of guy this guy is. He's special. Is it the best rookie season ever? It might be. It might be. And if he wins this one, it definitely is. Right. There have been some other quarterbacks that we forget that have had some really good rookie seasons and have been in this game before. So, but you can definitely make the argument it's the best rookie season. If he wins this one, there is no argument. Okay. Because he'll have done something that has never been done before. And he's doing this to this team. This team had not won more than 10 games in a regular season since that 1991 season when they last won the Super Bowl, right? They had not advanced past the divisional round until this year, I believe, since 1990, the 91 season. So, yeah, the drought is over for them as far as NFC Championship goes. I hear Daniel Snyder is pissed and is actively rooting against the Commanders. So, hey, I love that. You know me, and I don't even like the Commanders, but I love that because Daniel Snyder's just awful. And yeah, they have a chance to pull this off. Um, but I think if with Philadelphia, they have a lot of playmakers. They've been here before, and I like what they're doing defensively. And I just think Saquon Barkley, now DeBron Payne's out. So with that Eagles offensive line and Saquon Barkley, if they continue to run the ball with Saquon Barkley, I think that's their path to the Super Bowl. But I think this is going to be a great game, right? I think Jaden Daniels is going to wow us and at least keep us interested to the very end. I'd love to see the Commanders pull this off. But I'm thinking Philly does have a slight edge here. That's where I'm going. They split the games in the regular season. They kind of played a close one they both were close, really, but Philly kind of pulled away in the fourth quarter on that Monday Night Football game at the Link. Um, then they met again at I guess it's Northwest Field now, the old FedEx Field, or whatever, Commanders home field, and the Commanders made quite a comeback. So this should be a good a third matchup for all the marbles in NFC. I cannot wait. All right, so the Buffalo Bills AFC Championship game. Buffalo Bills, the 2 seed at the Kansas City Chiefs, the 1 seed. 6:30 p.m. on CBS. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo with the call. KC at home, at only a 2-point favorite, right? So it's pretty much a wash because you usually get 3 points at home. It's pretty much a pick 'em. And a lot of people, I'm sure, are leaning Buffalo. Over under is 48.5 points. So the Bills beat the Chiefs. I think they beat them by like 9 points back in Buffalo. I think it's like maybe in November in the regular season, and that's probably the game that will submit that submitted Josh Allen for his likely MVP. I'm just going to put that out there. I think he's winning MVP, and I think it's going to be because of that game. Um, so this game is huge, huge for Josh Allen, and I'm not going to discount it for Chiefs fans. It's huge for them too because they have an opportunity for history, right? Nobody's won 3 Super Bowls in a row, and it's right there all in front of you. Uh, but a big number 17 stands in their way, right? And I think if Josh Allen cannot, if James Cook can get some runs going, if Josh Allen doesn't have to do too much and he spreads the ball around and maybe you get a takeaway or two from your defense, they have a good shot. But it's tough to win at Arrowhead against a great, one of the all-time great quarterbacks already in Patrick Mahomes, against a wizard like Andy Reid, a veteran tight end like Travis Kelce, an absolute monster of a defensive lineman, and Chris Jones that just wrecks games. So I think this will be a very good game. I hope they give us a classic like they did a few years back, that back and forth game, the 13 seconds game that went into overtime. Obviously they've changed the overtime rules for Josh Allen now. So, the Bills, they beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but the Chiefs always get them in the playoffs. Um, I'm gonna lean Buffalo, but it's just by an inch. It really is because I'm looking across the sideline. I'm seeing Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to hear about the refs. Okay, I don't want to hear about. There's a conspiracy that they're getting Taylor Swift into the Super Bowl. No, Josh Allen. The NFL would be just as happy with Josh Allen just to have another marquee star quarterback, to have your Mahomes and Allen be the modern day Peyton Manning and Tom Brady rivalry, right? The NFL would love that because that rivalry was more exciting when Peyton got a ring, right? It didn't really mean much when Tom Brady was just, kicking his ass every time. So I'm going to lean Bills. It's going to be tough, though, Bills Mafia. It's going to be tough. All right. So bring your tables to Arrowhead and buckle up. It should be a fun one. I'm really excited. So I'm going to say the Super Bowl is going to be Philadelphia and Buffalo. I would like to see it Washington and Buffalo. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's Kansas City and Philadelphia again the second time in 3 years. All right, so that's what I got for this one. Enjoy the games, everybody. I might be back on here a little more because we're going to have a lot to talk about leading up to the Super Bowl. I cannot wait. Enjoy.